already covered some cheap plants that you can find and grow, but it does you no good if your soil's crap. And that is exactly what we had in these beds before when we put them in. It was just garbage, just compact clay with no nutrients in it, no life, and incredibly compacted, really alkaline desert soil, no drainage. And that was under about 8 inches of Bermuda grass. So we had a lot of work to do and not a lot of money. Spent a lot of time digging it deep. I probably dug it down 2 feet, just turning it, aerating it, getting some oxygen in there, and just loosening it up, breaking up clods, and then I added the amendments. In our side yard, we had a wood fence just like the rest of the property, but we needed something a bit more burly to screen out the neighbors, so we took it down. And we had a bunch of leftover lumber. Some of it ended up here. It looks kind of wonky because these come out and you can take it out and turn it as needed. Got 2 batches going right now. This one is almost done. I'm just adding water and turning. This is the next one, and I'm just throwing stuff in there. Lawn clippings, trimmings from the garden. You can see some watermelon. I finally got my fill of watermelon, so the last bit of it ended up in the compost. All of this for free. In the past, I've used bins offered by the city made from retired recycling containers. They work just great. Even just some pallets zip tied together will work. If you don't have room for a composter or a skill, you can do what's called composting in place. That might mean putting in a worm tower, which you can make from PVC, big diameter PVC with some holes drilled in the side, and just throw your food scraps in there and they'll come feast. It's like a little buffet. If you have a bigger space, you can do the same thing but with a 5-gallon bucket and just sink it in the ground, put some holes in the side. Well, put the holes in the side first, sink it in the ground, and throw your food scraps in there and keep the lid on top, keep bugs away, and they'll come feast. And it's like getting worm poop compost delivered by the worms themselves. Even lazier, you can skip the tower altogether and just dig a hole and throw your scraps right in there. Today I've got some roselle husks. I gathered the seeds, and these are the dried husks, but I've used celery tops and radish tops, ends of onions, you know, rinds, whatever. And you just dig a little hole, it's maybe 6 inches down, and chuck it in there and cover it up, and they will come find it. Just to demonstrate, like I said, this bed is 6 months old, and it was hard clay, but look at it now. And just digging this hole open, looky there. There are a few of these buddies in here. So I'm giving them a little something else to eat. Worm poop is like the gold standard of amendments, but it's expensive if you buy it. Of course, you can have them create it themselves in your garden, but it takes time. If you're in a hurry and want to get things going, you can definitely use goat poop, chicken manure, horse manure, rabbit manure. Check Craigslist in your area. People are usually giving it away if you come and scoop it yourself. Just make sure that it is aged, otherwise it's too hot and it could burn your plants, but most of the time it's just been sitting out, drying and getting good and ready just for your garden. These beds in, these are the original part of the garden. I went and got some goat manure that I found online on Craigslist, and that helped make the soil really good here. And these things are tall, which means expensive to fill, so that really helped a lot. For the new bed, I did not have time to go scoop manure at some rural location, so I got regular old steer manure from the big box hardware store. it's under $2 a bag, and I probably put 4 bags in here. So that is a inexpensive and good way to add some nutrients to your soil. Another problem with desert soil, clay soil, is drainage. And that is where this stuff comes in. This is gypsum, and it is for breaking up those clumps, those hard clumps, compacted soil, and improving it. I put a couple of bags, I think, in the new bed. Very inexpensive, available at most box stores. Great stuff. Another amendment source is the fire pit. If you have one or know somebody with one, you have biochar in there, or even wood ash. Just make sure it is wood and not charcoal or anything with chemicals. But that is great stuff for your garden. Use those refillable K-cups because they save a lot of money, and they're also super eco because you're not throwing all those things in the trash. But I empty them out in this detergent container, and I probably fill this thing up every couple weeks. I'm gonna use this batch to feed the banana. It's a heavy feeder, and it likes this slow release nitrogen. So I'm gonna give it a good feed. Probably the last one for the year because it started to cool down. But I wanted to put it to bed happy and fed. Right? Right. You might be able to score some already made compost from your city or town. It varies from municipality to municipality. For instance, our neighbors in Tempe can show up at this pile and scoop away, as long as they show a utility bill from the city, at any time throughout the year. Whereas here in Phoenix, it's only offered twice a year, and you have to show up really early, wait in line for about an hour, and then shovel like mad. Ask me how I know. Information on these programs is usually found on the city's website, somewhere under waste management. This passion flower vine is incredibly invasive and gets really out of control. So I am always cutting it back, pruning it, pulling up runners, and I do what is called chop and drop mulching. You take all those cuttings and runners and scraps and stuff and you throw it on the ground. We got all of this for free from Chip Drop, which is something you sign up for, and landscapers and tree trimmers will take their excess wood chips and drop them off at your house. A truckload was more than enough. Luckily, we have a neighbor who needed some for the front yard, so we split it with them, and then we put it under the bamboo, and it was a lot of work, but it was free. It's also great for retaining moisture, which is important in our climate, and keeping roots cooler in the summertime and warmer in the wintertime. So it's a good thing to have in your garden all over. So it takes some labor and it takes some patience, but it costs next to nothing to get some good soil.